Happy Friday, everybody. So just a quick catch up and just to describe what's coming up in a month's time, 27th of April, as you can see. So basically, this upgrade is what I usually do for my students or initiates of the alignment modality. But I'm opening it up now, and I'm going to open it up now to the public going forward, just because of all the tumultuous energy that's surfacing. You know, misinformation is really at the forefront of consciousness at the moment, and excuse me. And what's happening is it's putting a lot of pressure into the nervous system and immune system, and obviously the emotional body is going for a massive shift at the moment, a huge uplift of all the denied, repressed trauma. So it's very important that if we are to navigate through this colossal shift, then there are only a few things we need to do, really. Obviously, we need to go into self-inquiry and work on ourselves, because we have to be magnetically free of the chaos. Now, it doesn't mean that you're going to be disconnected and forget our fellow man. What it means is that we are not being pulled into the energetic battle that's going on with the old earth consciousness. And so it's really important that we sort of change the vibration around our body, within our cells, within our DNA, and start commanding more consciousness to come into the body. I'm going to talk about the upgrade in a minute, but at the moment there's obviously a lot of chaos with all the war and everything going on. And as I say to everyone, people that know me, and have listened to my videos, use the news as a way to heal yourself. Okay, so it's not about the story. Yes, the story's real. Well, yeah, there's a lot of misinformation around all of this, obviously, but whatever is triggered in you, where it's fear, sadness, anger, whatever emotion, that's your emotion. So that's yours to work on. So it's not about what you're seeing on the TV. So you should be, when you're emotionally or energetically clear, you should be able to look at chaos and not be affected emotionally whatsoever. That is what we call evolution. That's what we call evolving the 3D human body or emotional body, because we're trying to come to a higher state of emotional resonance now. The problem on the planet is we're barely out of the caves on a spiritual, emotional level, but technology is taking off. So there's this imbalance. So this is why there's a lot of fear around the AI at the moment, because human collective consciousness hasn't reached a point where it can command its own authority. We still listen to leaders, we still listen to outside energies, we still listen to the government and religion and all the rest of it. And when we listen to something outside of ourselves, we give our power away. Most people know this in the energy field. However, the problem is, and this is what the real fear is, because people know that they haven't got that internal consciousness aligned. So that's what the real fear is. The AI is not the problem. The fear is actually subconsciously knowing that we are not evolving at the same time as technology. And this is the big problem at the moment. And of course, there's a big debate, and of course all the chaos and the war, which is another thing. This is really at the core of it. It's the shadow energy trying to hold on to an old structure that has now become redundant, or will become redundant on many levels. There's many people talking about the split earth at the moment. Look, Spirit been very, very clear. This is something we awaken around us. The energy is already around us. We don't have to sort of ascend anywhere. This is about stepping into your power, but you have to change the vibration in the cells. Okay, this is what's important. Heal the emotional body, heal the ancestral line, and get the cellular network in alignment. And then what happens is you can start talking to your DNA, which is living consciousness. It's your higher self, it's your soul, if you like, physically manifested. So when you start to talk to that, you can start to command and start affecting change in the body. Okay, so look, this upgrade that we're going to be doing, we're going to do obviously deep soul healing. We're going to trigger things in you and we'll teach you how to work on that over post the upgrade. It's only about an hour, 50 minutes, 45 minutes of live healing. So we'll be freeing up sort of emotional stagnation. We're going to be revisiting the nervous system and the vagus nerve, because there's a lot of people's, what's happening now, because of all this emotion that's coming up to the surface, the human consciousness, or the mental, shall we say, projection of what you believe is reality, is not in, is too much in its infancy for this colossal shift that's coming up through the subconscious mind, which is all the denied, repressed trauma. Basically, it's all of our energies from other lifetimes. So, and what's also happening is they're starting to merge with us now. So you're waking up feeling anxiety, but it's not you in this present moment. It's in another parallel lifetime. So we'll get into all that at the moment. Even if you don't understand all that, you don't need to understand that, because anyone can come and do this healing, because if your intention is to heal yourself and transform, you will have some sort of trigger, 100%. And so we're going to be anchoring body into, light into the body, and starting to open up the earth chakra, which is the chakra beneath your feet, which grounds you into the earth. Now there's a lot of fear and separation and loneliness that sits in a lot of human beings, that sits in that earth chakra. So it stops divine current from moving through the body. So and it's also where we hold a lot of other lifetime trauma as well. So we're trying to open that up so we're more of a conduit. You must think of us as sort of, we're just funnels really. We're walking trees, we're made of the earth's minerals and earth, water, etc. So consciousness always needs to be moving through the body. Now, when we've got a clogged emotional body, it blows out the chakras, blows out the nervous system, causes edema, causes headaches, stress in the body, too much fire energy, too much will, striving, struggling. What this does is it burns the nervous system out. Now, when consciousness is coming through the body, like I said, if it turns into electrical current, it's frequency first, turns into electrical current. That's why we need water. That's why we need the feminine energy rebirthing in our bodies. So it pulls it through the body safely. If you've got a clogged emotional body or some sort of trauma there, it's going to hit it like a rock and it's going to explode. And this is again what causes backaches, bones to break, nervous system overload, headaches, all of the physicality, all the ailments that we could wake up one day and go, oh, where did that come from? Well, most of it comes from divine current. The same as illness and disease, it always has an emotional foundation to it. And then obviously a belief system goes with the emotion as well. So yeah, we're going to be, like I said, reinforcing the light body structure, because what we're seeing now is all of this energy that's coming from the cosmic, or shall we say the galaxy, which is sort of cosmic energy, if you want to call it. And then you've got the sun's radiation, which is awakening information. Because the human body is still stuck in the fear state, which most people are, or they're trying to let go of fear but don't know how to process it properly. This is hitting, and some people are turning away from it. It's hitting the body, but what's happening is your soul is striving to receive this information, but the human body or the human consciousness is not in alignment. It's not awakened to that information. So what's happening is it's causing people to just get into panic states, freak out, nervous system, fatigue, all the things that we would just say, oh, it's just, just work, or, whatever. You generally will blame it on something around us, something that we know, something that's tangible. But often these things are very much an unconscious foundation, or it starts in that energy field. So yeah, so we're going to be working on that nervous system, and like I said, a lot of the things we're feeling now are coming from these other lifetimes. We're just a hologram of ourselves. So there's many aspects of us all living parallel consciousness at times, parallel information, and so that's starting to merge more with the body, because we are in this timeline now. This is a very, very unique timeline. So the soul is bringing everything into our physical bodies, because a lot of these other timelines are still stuck in fear, struggle, survival, haven't worked on themselves, and that's probably because of the environment. And so what's happening, because we are multi-fragmented, we can bring everything into one body if so desired. And obviously the higher self, or the soul, is what's doing that now. It's bringing a lot of things through, because if you bring it through this body, through this timeline, we are letting go of this survival servitude consciousness that we've lived in for thousands of years, which is the gift of separation. So we decided to come here to lose our consciousness, to profoundly find ourselves again through the shadow energy. So we've come full circle. Time is all in cycles. None of this linear crap that they pontificate about. Everything is in cycles. So we have come full circle now, and we are sitting on the precipice of transformation. But you cannot take the old network with you. So that includes, like I said, your emotional body and the ancestral energies. They're the two foundational patterns for all self-inquiry and healing going forward. If you clear those, the ego will start to calm down. We do neural pathway reprogramming as well. It's very, very simple, and you can actually feel it starting to transform in the head. And they will start to, what happens is, you know, as I said to people, you're already perfect, you're already powerful. There's no such thing as ascension. Forget all this ascension crap, because we are ascended. We live in all dimensions. We are everywhere. We are evolving. So you need to evolve your human state by being conscious of the soul in a conscious walking reality. Meaning you are giving your control over to your soul rather than your ego or societal programming, which is, to be honest, most of us are walking through that conditioning, yeah? But again, that's all part of the process. So forget the ascension, just be human, be still, come into your body, let this beautiful energy open up within us, and then that is what's called, you know, that's where the old heaven on earth analogy actually come from, is awakening the soul consciously, is taking back the power. But we must balance the male and female energies, because that mental cycle has burnt itself out now. We have to bring the gentleness of the feminine back into our bodies. So on a physical level, in water, sitting in the bath, more showers, getting in the ocean, drinking lots more water, but also commanding to bring that feminine algorithm through the body in meditation. And you just need to call on the feminine energy, or divine feminine energy. But we'll talk about that all on the upgrade anyway, and we'll be very conscious of what's going on there. So we're going to also be releasing a lot of the anger, fear, and deep sadness that we're all feeling on some level, either if it's through collective consciousness, through our own life, this life that you're conscious of, or, you know, these parallel lifetimes, or it's your ancestral energy. So it's one of those four really, generally. And so it can be all four at the same time, which is why so many people are feeling overwhelmed at the moment. And when the emotions get too tight or they come to the surface too quickly, the physical body obviously takes the brunt of that, which is why the pain and fatigue is augmenting at the moment. And obviously the disease is triggering. It's huge at the moment. Like I think it's like tripled now. Cancer, you know, especially sort of mental illness, because mental illness is a complete shutdown of the emotional body. So most people that have a lot of the mental illnesses are completely shut off from their emotional bodies. So what's happening, that energy has to go somewhere, so it goes into the mental body and then triggers these, you know, Alzheimer's and all the rest of it. So yeah, it's a sad thing, you know, but again, this is misinformation. This is, if we were just told how to, because we use universal law now, we take all the hippie stuff out of it, we use universal law based on Dr. Emoto, Einstein and Bruce Lipton. And we bring those three together with the spiritual consciousness, and you've got your heaven on earth, you've got universal law manifested, you understand it. And the great thing about it is very, very simple. Because as human beings, we love to convolute everything, make everything difficult. It has to be 10,000 pages to read to get some sort of achievement. No, forget all that. The conscious human being will just be a channel as we evolve. You don't need to store. Even Einstein says, do not try and memorize anything you can look up. Spirit in the higher consciousness, they don't have memory. They just channel in the moment. They want an answer to something. It's like when you watch that Matrix movie and he says, oh, an upgrade for all of these, you know, to fly the helicopter. It just downloads straight away. And so we are coming back into that. We're probably 70, 100 years away from that, fully living in that consciousness. But we're on the precipice of that change now. So it's really, really important to get into self-inquiry. Use this year, because the energies this year are fantastic for transformation. And you don't want to be, you want to be riding the wave. You want to get stuck in the water, because ultimately every human being is being triggered, regardless of your belief systems, your religion, because all of that is just human distraction, confusion and distraction. What's true is we are universal beings having a physical experience, and we've been told by the higher consciousness to take back our power, to start coming back into collective consciousness and start awakening this energy around us. So look, so that's starting anyway. So yes, it's starting on 27th of April. I do them every 3 months, but I'm going to start changing that. And we're starting to put some programs together. But I'll talk about all that later, and that'll all be up on the website anyway. All right, guys. So I'm going to put my email here because I'm just changing over a few things on the website. So I'm not getting anyone to sort of sign on the website at the moment. If you want to come on the upgrade, all the information will be there. And I'll put it on the base of this message, and you just contact me via email if you're interested, and I'll put you on the list. All right, guys, thank you so much. Speak to you soon.